Asian literature, or particularly when we talk about the South Asia. Recently, I have gone through in some magazines, in some media. I think that the picture is not so trustworthy, hopefully. In fact, the reasons may be another. But we are thinking here from the research point of view. And I think that whenever we are thinking about the South Asia, most of the region, particularly, it may be India, Pakistan, Nepal, then your Sri Lanka, some parts of Bhutan or Maldives. It means most of the countries we see there is a conflict. Political insurgency is there, military power is there, most of the burning issues are there. And why I am mentioning all these problems? Because directly and indirectly these problems, these issues make impact on the mind of the writers. Because we are talking about the writers, we are talking about the literature, and I think that against such kind of backdrop, I think that the writer is an ambassador. Why he is ambassador? He is cultural ambassador, he is political ambassador, he is economic ambassador, and he is geographic ambassador. Friends, the writer carries the legacy of the past, of the great masters, some kind of myths, some kind of values. He moves in the present. While he moving in the present, he accepts, he reflects, and he directs towards the future. He shows the right direction, maybe the right direction, because later the reader, critics, they will make finalize whether that is right or wrong. But his direction is towards the future. And whenever we are thinking about these South Asian writers, I think that really they are the ambassadors. Because in South Asia, many issues are there, innumerable issues are there, if we are thinking that. And I am deliberately, it means keeping towards the other literatures. Because you know all about the Indian literature. But before that South Asian literature in the colonial period, particularly during the British rule, that region was known as Indian subcontinent. Indian subcontinent, that is the part of India and other neighboring countries. The fact is that when we are thinking about that South Asian literatures, earlier writers dominated by the male writers like Mulk Raj Anand, Rajaram, R.K. Narayan, then recently Salman Rushdie, V.S. Naipaul, and today we see number of emerging writers. Later, I find that when we are thinking about the women writers, there are two categories. One is, that is the indigenous writers, and another is, that is immigrant or diasporic writers. Friends, I think that it means you are quite familiar with all these things. Indigenous writers particularly, they walk their lives in their concerned countries. They put the pen on the paper about their culture, about their society. You know that? And some of the writers, whom I call that is the diasporic writers, who writes about their origin countries, but now they are somewhere in other parts of the world, maybe in USA, UK, Canada or Australia. The fact is that, therefore, due to the efforts, due to this scholarly attitude, and sometimes here I want to mention that this situation, these issues prompts to write something new, but it's very unfortunate that indigenous writers are writing number of books, maybe novel, short story, poetry, etc. But the diasporic writers get it means they are getting the wide coverage. Diasporic writer. I am living in India. When I write about India, when I speak about India, that's my authority. And authoritatively I express. But the man, the writer, who sits in United Kingdom, who is in USA, and he writes about the Indian culture, and we say that, oh, what a great book, what a statement. Recently, we can take the example of Arvind Addy. You know that we have to realize what type of policies deliberately they are, it means formulating. We are the readers. I don't say we are the judge, but at least we can understand the seeds. At least we can understand the intention behind them. And we have to admit that, open our eyes from all these facts. Friends, here number of emerging, that is research scholars are there. I do not want to mention because a number of writers are there. Because we know a very few names whenever we are talking about this, that is South Asian writers, particularly in our contemporary era. Salman Rushdie, V.S. Naipaul, Anita Desai, then your The God of Small Things, Arundhati Roy, etc. and so on. But there are number of writers are there. If anybody is interested, they can it means contact me, I will provide all the material. Friends, there are number of issues are there. Corruption is there. Ethnicity is there. Caste factor is there. Then your religion is there. Nowadays we are also that is observing that. That is most of the discussion on the Jat Panchayat. Also that. You know that. It means so many issues are there. These are the burning issues are there. And I think that these issues plays as like the steering to the writer. And through the help of that steering, the writers moves from one step to another step. Then he hands over his one creation to another creation. Ahmedabad-based writer Sarup Dhruv, actually she is female writer, she mentions that it becomes very difficult to me to write because she is writing against the backdrop of that is violence, religion-based violence. The same kind of view is about that is Esther David, a Jew writer. Because of what? This is the fact. No one can deny this and no one can escape his or her skin. We have to accept it. We have to go thoroughly this, and that is the dire need of this hour. Therefore, friends, I want to congratulate the organizer, that is the architect of this seminar, both Nikams. Because of what? The theme of the conference, that is also global. I noticed that in most of the that is Western countries, in their university department, now it means they established that is South Asian literature, the Department of South Asian Literature. And another, it means one important fact is that the theme is interdisciplinary. That is not only useful to the humanities discipline, but also science discipline. And that shows it means that the vision of the organizers and secretary. When we are thinking about the Indian, that is South Indian literature, particularly Indian literature, that comprises, that is Assamese literature, Kashmiri literature, Bengali literature, Oriya literature, Kannada literature, Gujarati literature, Marathi literature, Telugu literature, Tamil literature, and of course Indian literature and English. I moved over the Pakistani writers and I want to go through it. There are number of writers are there like Nadeem Aslam, Muhammad Hanif, Ali Sethi, Daniel Monuddin, Talat Abbasi, Monica Alvi, Atiya Daud, Tahmima Durrani, Fayyaz Ali Gohar, Shadab Jeet, Ayesha Jalal, Sonia Kamal. Number of writers are there. Praveen Shakir, Kamila Shamsi, Sara Suleri, and many more. The fact is that when the Pakistani literature is concerned, or when the Pakistani, that is writers, they write about, most of the writers, they are in Geneva. When they visit to USA or any particularly Western or European countries, the interviewer asks one question: what's the situation or what's your stance about religion and terrorism in your country? Therefore, I quote here Kamila Shamsi. She puts that in the West, people want to talk to me exclusively about Islam and terrorism. Anything is said less important. I am expected to deal with Muslim issues, whether or not I want to. It means that when a writer is writing the books, when the writer particularly producing, there is some kind of creation, we find that a writer has also some kind of expectation and anticipation. But apart from this, these Western mentality, so-called critics, they put the same stereotype questions or the stereotype, that is issues regarding terrorism and that is your women issues, that is about the Islam. You know that Pakistani literature that comprises Kashmiri literature, Punjabi literature, Sindh literature and Urdu literature. It is also a fact that I think that Aristotle, man is a social animal, absolutely right. And man is also the political animal. No one can, it means that, divorce or align from the politics. Therefore, women's writing in Pakistan, that is also inseparable from the country's politics. You know that many regimes we observe how the military power interferes there, how the democratic government sometimes, it means that cannot take the decision, or if the decision has been taken, that should be, it means under the, that is the burden of that military power. That is what the fact. But the Pakistani writers had two kind of problems. They talk about the censor. Censor means there are two kinds of censor, as I know that. That is, one is official censor and another is, that is unofficial censor. Though we are leading our lives in democratic country, also doesn't matter. Here also we find in democratic, that is country, two kinds of, that is censor. That is official censor and unofficial censor. Official censor means, as you are quite, that is aware that how the government, it means, molds the mind of the writers or the intellectuals in the society. And unofficial that is censor, it means that how the extremist, the fundamental powers, the reign over the mind. You know that. It means that we have the best example of, that is Taslima Nasrin. It means that how, it means she is in exile more than a decade. Maybe she is in India or any other part of the country. In India also, the fundamentalist or the extremist people or that mentality, they put the reward, who will beheaded her, then we will give the reward so and so. Friends, look at the mentality, and that is what the dilemma of the Pakistani writers. But here, already I mentioned the names. These are the established and emerging writers. If we want to understand, if we want to analyze all these writers, then we can understand the seed. It means that the South Asian literature. Now, I proceed to Bangladeshi writers. The notable writers are Monica Ali, Tehmima Anam, and Taslima Nasrin. That is well acquainted to us. Friends, her famous book, that is Lajja, that was banned in Bangladesh, doesn't matter. There was a fatwa against us. Even the fact is that even today in West Bengal also, nobody cannot particularly sell that book. That's what the fact. Recently, that is gone through in one magazine. It means there is one instance in Hyderabad. She came there, it means to release the book. And what was happened, you know that. In fact, the writer is armless man. And on that armless man, these armed people or the mentality, how they try to break the mind or the brain of that writer. But is that possible? Can anybody stop? These another questions. Friends, in Nepali literature, there is one famous name, and she is Manjushree Thapa. She writes about, that is the successful people's movement in Nepal, and she tells us that, I quote, every word is politicized and every loyalty is questioned for writers. The challenge is to overcome the impediments to speaking out, for it is not the speaking that harms, but the silence. It means that the writers cannot be separated or inseparable from the politics or the political issues. The same case or the same kind of circumstances we find in Sri Lankan literature, and the notable writers are Shyam Selvadurai, Karl Muller, Ramesh Gunasekara, Rue Freeman, Yasmin Gunaratne, Chandan Lokojit, Mary Ann Mohanraj, and Ranasinghe. Friends, that the Sri Lankan writers also put that they also find one kind of cloud censorship. The censorship is there, the cloud is there. The cloud makes a lot of changes. Friends, now I move towards the various perspectives, particularly on the social perspective. Society is the great energy to the writers. He takes inspiration from the society. He takes so many seeds from the society. Sometimes society makes impact over the mind of the writers. Obviously, the writer also makes an impact over the society. But whenever we are thinking about the society, the corruption is there. Another important fact is that the identity is there. Friends, in 1931, Dr. Rashid Jahan, a Muslim young lady, 1931, we can imagine that, in pre-independence era, she wrote one story, that is Dilli Ki Sair, a visit to Delhi. And the next one is, that is Parde Ke Piche, behind the veil. Both these short stories created a storm during that time, and that was published in one Urdu anthology named and edited by Dr. Sajjad Jahir. Angari was quite famous. Friends, in that Dilli Ki Sair, the writer put so many anguish, the problems faced by the women in that society. Again, in the Parde Ke Piche, how the woman particularly, she has to lead her life within the four walls. How her life is limited by the male or by the society. She put very beautifully in that Angare, and therefore during that time the Angare was quite famous. And even in 1986, Ismail Chugai, he also frankly admit that it means that I have taken the inspiration from the story that is your Behind the Veil, as well as Dilli Ki Sair, a visit to Delhi, because she shocked the entire society. That time it was a discussion that it means a woman writer, it means she can write such type of writing. Imagine that. You know that she was doctor, physician, therefore there is no need